I'm Austin Wilson, Co-Portfolio Manager at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management.
And I'm Josh Robb, Director of Wealth Management at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. Today we're going to be looking back at July and talking about the markets and the economy and what all happened, as well as some animal news.
Ooh,
Yes.
animal news. All right, so let's start with the markets.
All right.
Markets. S&P 500 for the month of July. Up 2.99%.
Okay.
Dow Jones Industrial Average up 3.32%. NASDAQ Composite up 3.83%. Small cap U.S. stocks up 5.61%. Developed international stocks up 2.99%. Emerging markets up 4.16%. And bonds up 0.14%.
There you go.
They're not up since then, by the
No.
way.
Okay.
Anyway, good month for stocks.
Yes.
Good way to end the month of July. So, pretty good performance.
All right. Now, animal news. So I'm going to start
animal news.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yep.
Southern by Miami. There's a little neighborhood there, and they have a problem.
They have a problem.
A pest problem.
Okay.
Florida, what pests do you think are there?
I mean, I would assume like bugs, gators,
No. Bunnies.
bunnies.
And the problem is somebody let loose some pet rabbits that are not native to that area, and they are repopulating pretty quickly.
That's what rabbits do.
And now they have more rabbits than houses in that neighborhood. There's like 81 homes, and they've counted just hundreds of these rabbits. And so they called in the animal rescue people, and there's this whole group now that's created to try to rescue these rabbits because, one, they are easy prey for a lot of the snakes and
they're
alligators
not
and
wild
everything.
rabbits, so they're not like...
They don't know. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, they are kind of wild now because the offsprings are now, they don't have human contact. But the problem we're into, so they went there like, hey, we could probably catch about 45 a day. They have plans.
That's hard.
They said they weren't able to do that because the residents are so hostile because there's a group of people that just like having the rabbits around.
Goodness.
And so they're like actively preventing them from getting caught. So right now they're just kind of figuring out like this happy medium between not letting it destroy because they're, affecting other things because they're not supposed to be there. So interesting.
Sounds
just a
like-
couple gators loose in there.
I
and
know.
they'll solve
Well,
the
it
problem,
sounds
I
like
think.
someone needs to have a barbecue.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of work. Not a lot of meat, though. All right. Next up, this summer, Josh,
Yes.
it's been smoking.
It's been warm.
No, not talking about temperature. I'm talking about literal smoke.
Ah, yes.
So the intensity of Canada's raging wildfires has generated record levels of carbon emissions. So there's this group in Europe called the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service.
Oh.
That's a big word, big bunch of words. They found that
CAMS, is that their acronym?
that actually is.
Yes.
I put that in there, but it is. They found that the accumulated carbon emissions from the Canadian wildfires this year have soared to 290 megatons in the first 7 months of 2023, which is already more than double the previous whole year record for Canada and accounts for over 25% of global carbon emissions this year.
Wow.
Just those wildfires.
Just those wildfires.
So if
It has been smoky.
Yeah, if you go outside and you've noticed, actually we're kind of
haze.
hopefully past that now, but you had noticed some periods where it's been a little hazy, a little smoky, you got that funky smell.
That's it.
That's what it is.
Okay. Moving over to California.
Okay.
There were some problems. Some surfers were complaining.
Yeah.
There's some aggressive behavior. Surfboards were getting stolen. There were some problems. Turns out it's a otter. There's this otter that's out stealing surfboards and harassing surfers.
Really?
Yep. It's kind of this interesting thing because he has a following.
Yeah.
Fans that kind of just think he's cool and, they
have a name.
encourage him. I think he's probably got a Twitter and an Instagram follow thing.
Otto, probably.
They've caught him in the past and then come back. He keeps, or she, I think it's a she. She keeps returning to this area and likes to jump on surfboards and take them wherever, whatever it does with it. Its name is Otter 841. That's how they've dubbed it. There must be 140 other ones doing this. But it's in Santa Cruz area, and they caught it last September, but it keeps showing back up.
That's funny.
Getting out of wherever. They take it away, drop it in the wild, because it's wild, and then he just shows right back up.
I'll tell you what. The Toledo Zoo has a fantastic
Oh, yeah.
otter exhibit.
Oh, yeah. It's so fun to watch.
My daughter Juliana loves the otters so much. So and there's a glass wall and half of it's filled with water. You can see underneath.
Top half or bottom half?
You can see the
Bottom half.
it's glass half full. So yeah, the bottom half's full. But anyway, yeah, these otters, they're always active. They're not napping. They're jumping in, and they do this thing where, like, if they can see people through the glass, and if someone's sitting in front of it, which my daughter likes to do, they will like swim at you and then turn around on the glass and dart back the other way. And we literally will sit there for like half hour, an hour, and just watch it. So it's great.
Those and the seals, they like to go back and forth too.
Have you been there since they had the baby polar bears?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yep. So much fun. I want one, but not really.
Not really.
So, yeah. All right, number 3, earnings season has been in full swing. Ask me how I know.
How has earnings season been in full swing, Austin?
A lot of companies have been reporting their quarterly earnings through July and into August here as we sit right now. And you listen to them all. And that's a lot of calls, a lot of news, a lot of reports, a lot of... Yeah, it's been busy. So, through the end of July, just under 60% of companies have beat on revenue versus estimates. Just under 70% have beat on earnings compared to estimates. Now, the revenue side of things has gotten a little bit weaker than prior quarters, and a lot of the reason for that is because commodity prices are down, inflation's coming down, so the top line is starting to weaken a little bit. But overall, one of the reasons the markets have held up relatively well is actually earnings are coming in okay. Good. Not as bad as feared is sort of the way to think.
That's the thing.
Yep.
Not as bad as feared. Okay. Going back to Florida, because Florida has crazy stuff.
Hey, I like Florida.
All right. Pythons, Burmese pythons.
We've talked about this, I think, before.
They are not native to Florida.
No, they're not, but there are quite a few.
They are, because they have no predator, they just kind of do their thing. Yeah. So you do not need a license or permit to hunt these things. Yeah. In fact, it's encouraged that you humanely get rid of them. All right. So
that's probably key.
Throughout the year, they'll have these competitions and things, and you bring the biggest one in, and you can win a prize. Just a thing they do. But this was not during that. But there was a couple people. They caught a 19-foot Burmese python, which set the record for the longest. Or something? Yeah, they were down in the Big Cypress National Preserve in South Florida.
19 feet.
That's as long as an adult giraffe is tall. If that gives you a reference point.
That's a lot of snake.
Yes. It is crazy. It was 19 feet, weighed 125 pounds. So it set a record for length, but not weight. Apparently there was a heavier one that's been caught in the past. But that's a big snake. Big snake. And apparently there's video of someone catching a snake about this size, and like the guy grabs it and the snake's like, no thank you.
Yeah, what do you do?
It took like 4 or 5 people.
Right.
Because they're big and strong.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
Snake, that one's gone. So those rabbits will probably feel a little safer. If he could probably clear that whole neighborhood
you should
out.
probably just set the snake in the neighborhood. And
I don't know. I would take rabbits in a neighborhood over a snake for sure. 19-foot thing comes by. We have a little gardener snake in our neighborhood, and our Facebook neighborhood page is like going nuts. But it's probably 3 feet. I mean, it's for a gardener snake. It's pretty big. Yeah. And
kids go catch
all the neighborhoods people are like going crazy
in a bad way.
Like they're like, we should just burn the whole neighborhood down. Type of they're not excited about the snake.
We definitely caught snakes as kids. They're fun.
Yeah,
because they're gardener snakes. They're not going to hurt you. But they're
every state, I think, but one has poisonous snakes.
We do in Ohio.
Yes.
What's it? Cottonmouth.
Yes, I think Alaska is the only one that doesn't.
It's probably because it's too cold.
Yeah, probably.
All right, number 4, inflation.
Yes.
Again,
inflation.
We're talking about it.
Yep.
It cooled slightly more than expected in June, which is the report we got in July. So headline consumer price index came in at 3.03%. That's not that far out of the normal range. Down from 4% the prior month. And if you take out food and energy, core CPI was up 4.8% year over year, which is down from 5.3 the month before. So moving in the right direction. It's not deflation. It's not negative, but it's disinflation.
Disinflation.
It's
lower inflation.
Yep, is what we would call that. Personal consumption expenditures also cooler than expected. So those were up 0.2% month over month with a headline of 3% like CPI and core at 4.1. So inflation's heading in the right direction.
Good. All right, Pennsylvania now.
Okay, we're moving closer to home.
Pennsylvania, there's an animal causing problems there.
Sasquatch.
Nope.
Okay.
Alligator. What? Yes. In a river, a creek, some people that were, kayaking or whatever, said, hey, there's something in here that shouldn't be. So they called the animal rescue group, and they found a 2.5-foot alligator.
There was a pet
swimming around.
Released.
Yes. So they caught it. And a little bit later, they got contacted by the owner saying, hey, that's mine. And it is legal to own alligators in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it got out because there was a flood, and there was like a flash flood and it got it out of its enclosure or whatever. The flood carried it.
2.5 feet alligator is not a huge one.
No, but it's not supposed to be in Pennsylvania. When you go swimming, that's always my rule. The farther south you go, the less likely I am to jump into
fresh
lakes
water
and rivers and those things. Up here, I'll jump in a pond without thinking about it. Down south, no. But Pennsylvania, alligator? No, by the way, just a little ways away from there, there's reports and evidence of a 4-foot alligator also swimming around.
Oh, boy.
So there's a couple alligators.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
Have you seen, I think Shark Week's been recently on
last
TV.
week? Yeah.
I didn't watch any of it. I think I'll catch some on Disney+. I think a lot of that came over.
That's always fun.
But there's always shows about bull sharks specifically swimming inland in rivers. And they come really far.
Yep.
And that's kind of freaky. They've had a lot of shark attacks miles and miles.
Oh, yeah, they swim because they can survive in salt and fresh water.
Yeah.
And there's actually 7 or 11, something like that, lakes that have sharks in them, freshwater lakes that have sharks in them. And most of them are from that. And one of them is sharks got in there, and then because of the water, now they're stuck. And so they're pretty much living there, repopulating, and that's their life now.
In the States?
No, like different countries. There is one in the States, but a lot of overseas places.
That's wild.
Just crazy to think about.
Yeah. So the Fed, fifth and final point.
Yes.
The Fed went back to their recent ways after a pause last month in June. They delivered another 25 basis point rate hike in July, the 11th rate hike of the cycle after 10 in a row, as they continue to tighten monetary policy, try and slow down inflation, really try and make sure they got it is kind of where they're at right now, because inflation's come down quite a bit, but they don't want it to get out of hand again. They've left another hike on the table. They're saying it's possible. They're not really locked in either way. They're saying that each meeting going forward is a live meeting, so they're making decisions based on data as it comes in. But the market is pretty much saying it now that the Fed is pretty much done. Okay. So we will see how that goes. It's been one of the fastest and most aggressive tightening cycles on record. However, inflation has come down rapidly, and the job market hasn't been broken, as we just got today, as of the time of this recording. Unemployment at 3.5%. That's there we go. Like a record low.
That is very low.
Very low.
All right, finally, last animal, Indiana.
Really
Indiana,
close to home
close
here.
to us.
Yeah.
You got cows and pigs, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But an emu was running loose.
It's like a baby ostrich.
Again, became kind of a local celebrity. He jumped a fence that he was enclosed in while his owner was out on a hike and thought, hey, this is pretty cool. I got a little more
freedom
range here. So he was running around town doing his thing. Guy got back and realized it. They spent about 2 weeks chasing this thing, trying to catch it. Tried all these different traps and snares and just couldn't get this thing. Finally did. But he became so popular, this guy now has an Etsy store with T-shirts and stuff with the name and the image and all that. So he's building a taller fence. That should hopefully help.
That would be a wise move.
Rigby, that was the name of the emu.
Rigby the emu.
That was it. Out and run around.
Well, thank you for listening this month. Please remember, nothing we talked about today is a recommendation, but if you have any questions about your financial situation, feel free to give us a call at 419-425-2400 or email us at hello@hzcapital.com. And until next month,
we will talk to you later.
Have a good one. Bye.
Josh Robb and Austin Wilson work for Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. All opinions expressed by Josh, Austin, or any guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Hixon Zuercher Capital Management may maintain positions in the securities discussed. There is no guarantee that the statements, opinions, or forecasts provided herein will prove to be correct. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Indices are not available for direct investment. Any investor who attempts to mimic the performance of an index would incur fees and expenses which would reduce returns. Securities investing involves risk, including the potential for loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment plan or strategy will be successful.